Hey, this is Dave with Living Lightly. Today I'm going to spend some time with some seedlings and planting plants and working on the garden. Got these guys about ready to go in, and it is early May. So I'm just going to bring you through the whole process of what I do. I'm not a gardening expert. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You probably have better ideas than me, but I figure if we all share what each other's doing, we'll learn from each other. So I always start with soil. I mean, that's the number one key ingredient to growing a good plant is putting it in good soil. So we are going to go into the compost room. All right, let's go. All right, we start out in the basement because I live in a climate with cold winters. So I want to be making soil, compost, throughout the year, throughout the winter. So we have a bin that I'll come down and put some scraps in, food scraps. And we have red wigglers that live in here, and they take care and make some amazing soil. Right? And I'll share a little bit about that. All right, so here's the compost bin. This side is now the old side. I have it divided in half. So this side, let's take this. I put a quarter-inch screen on here so worms can travel from one side to the other. That way I can safely harvest their castings and the compost there. Here is where they're living now. Let's see if we can dig in a little bit. Where'd you go, guy? I kind of messed with them a little bit, and so they tend to dig in when I do that. But they are in there. Well, anyway, it's a gross mess, right? But they love it. So I'm not going to mess with them too much. We'll just let them be, let them do their work. And cover them up in this old, I don't know, big potato bag, coffee bean bag. And there's good drainage. There's this, weed kind of netting to keep them from traveling all the way through. And they give signs if they're in any kind of stress at all. They'll start trying to escape, and you can see them and you can figure out what they need. Oh, do they need moisture? Do they need more food? Do they need new bedding? And so I start with the bedding of, say, coconut peat and shredded paper. So I would have, say, like shredded paper. Put that in there. Like coconut peat. And then I'd have food scraps. They don't really like citrus. They love bread and like corn, popcorn, things like that. Then we use rainwater. Here's a note. Here's my rain barrels. I'm trying to get some rainwater. Right, and it's good to have gauges in the soil. Check temperatures, check moisture level. Yeah, a little bit cool, but I mean they're comfortable. They're happy. They're just be moving a little bit slow at 60. At 70, they just start on like a feeding frenzy. Okay, so I keep these guys this side covered up. Yeah, so in our home we only eat plant-based foods. So, you'll find, so it's like we can throw any scraps in here and they'll be fine. Maybe not too much citrus. They don't like it getting too acidic. But I'll have little plants growing in here. Whoa, those little guys. I'll have little plants growing in here. Like, yeah. There it's like, a tomato or a pepper, throw it in there. And it just starts growing on its own in the dark. So the soil is good. But yeah, just a reminder, don't put in things like dairy and meat. That does not compost well and probably stink up. There's no smell in here, by the way. It's like you might think I'm putting all these stinky things in and there's no smell. I will attract, some insects, but you put that peat over top of it and it keeps it under control pretty well. Sift, and any worms that are still in here, then I gently put them back in this bin, or they can go outside. They're okay. It's springtime. They'd be happy with that. When I'm messing with the worms, it's like you use this tool, but I know it's pretty clear, so I use this. And yeah, here's a couple of little guys. All right, so you get the idea there, and so I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to take some of the bigger chunks that, I put a little bit of wood chips in there. I'm going to take some of those, and I'm going to put them all together, and we're going to make worm compost tea also. So I'm going to fast forward a minute. All right, so here's where we ended up. I was finding some of the worms, they went down, and so I got everything off the top, but I was finding a few more worms, so I'll just let them keep the light on, let the soil dry out a little bit, and it'll drive them into where all the food is. They'll figure it out. But I have enough for what I need for right now. So I have this perfect, fluffy, jet black, perfect soil. Hard to get. You can't buy it in a store. Not that good. And then I'll put it in seed trays, and seeds themselves don't need, high quality compost to germinate. They can germinate in sand, but once they're getting roots and drawing nutrition, they are doing outstanding in this. I also have used rainwater, so this was my rainwater collection. And I'll use rainwater because regular tap water kills microbes. That's the whole function of, the city water supply, is to have it so clean that it kills all the beneficial bacteria, microbes, whatever's in there. But we want our microbes to live, because I want just a Mardi Gras of microbes in here. It is a microbe party, okay? Because then those microbes are able to break down whatever material, turn it into something usable for the plants, die, and then as the little microbes die and regenerate, they produce soil, they produce nutrients that the plants can absorb. So it's not actually the worms that are doing it. The worms secrete some kind of enzyme which the microbes can feed off of and then break down other material. So there's all kinds of crazy things happening in this soil that we probably don't even want to know. But I have this soil, and I have these chunkier bits that I had some wood chips at the bottom, so it would help with drainage. And now I got a hold of some of those, and we're going to make some compost tea. All right, now we're outside, and these are the trays that the seeds were germinating in. I'm not going to go, one level more. I'm going to go from seed trays to ground, and I am very happy with the color and health of all the plants. Got some more over here. Yeah, they are quite happy in that worm compost. All right, so I'm going to take this screen and cut some of it down, make a big tea bag. Double layered it. All right, now we are out by the gardening area, and I want to show you the the tea brewer. So this is rainwater. So again, I'm collecting rainwater because I don't want all the the fluoride and everything that kills all the beneficial bacteria and all the beneficial microbes. Uh, Regular water will just kill your soil. I mean, it's better than nothing, but you don't want that. You want the good rainwater. And then even better, we're gonna make some compost tea. So here's that tea bag that we'll throw in there. It also needs to be aerated so it won't get anaerobic. And I want to show you a new gadget I just got. Yeah, it's this, okay, little solar panel here, and here's a little solar air pump. So you can see it'll aerate the tank. So hopefully I shot that right. It came with directions. We never read directions. Figure it out and then watch YouTube videos. But it seems to be working just great. Just took it out of the box right now. So it seems to be working fantastic. And I'm gonna put it in the big tank. So I need to climb up on that roof and hook up that solar panel, and I'll be back. All right, it's turning into a little bit of a project up here on top of the tank because I really have to mount this to the wall. I have to mount that up there. I've got to get this big tea bag through the little hole, but working out. It'll take a few minutes, but I'll get it done. There we go. We have a good tank, 250-gallon tank of rainwater microbial tea. And it's just extra, so yeah. And part of our security system is right here. This is Thomas. Yeah, hi buddy. Yeah, he works around here too. He does some patrolling. Yeah, he's looking for payment right now. We'll take care of you, Thomas. All right, and here's the garden area. Lots of sun. And it gets some good morning sun. So over here, not quite the best morning sun. But you want the morning sun to reduce mildew, because early in the morning, you want the plants to dry up. You don't want them sitting and soaking and getting mildewy. All right, and I'm going to show you what we have going on. There are rows, even though you can maybe barely tell. There's compost here and leaves. So it's like compost and leaves in here. Wood chips here. I collected these wood chips in the winter. So the winter wood chips don't have any leaves. They're not going to break down as quickly or be useful as quickly, but I'm okay with that because these are my pathways. So my pathways here, my food in these rows. How I cleared the ground for a few weeks, I put this black plastic on it and got rid of all the weeds. So I'll have a fighting chance. It'll be a fair fight. We're starting clean. What that does is any of the weeds that were growing in there had roots, and now those roots have decayed a little bit, and I don't need to till this up. The roots have decayed and left pathways for new plants, water, and nutrients to get into the soil. Also, the wood chips will slowly break down. The leaves will more quickly break down and feed the soil. The wood chips are excellent for, one, keeping weeds down, future weeds down. Anything that lands on top is easy to just pluck out. And because, nope. They retain the moisture. They regulate the temperature of the ground. And they add nutrients. So the black plastic for me does not stay. So it's just to kill off the weeds and then cover it with wood chips. And then we're going to use newspaper as another layer around the plants. We'll see that happen in a second. Here's another compost bin outside. And we try to get it about 50-50, like 50 carbon, 50 nitrogen, which is 50 browns and 50 greens. So there's a mix, and there's worms working in there. So I'm gonna grab some of these leaves that aren't broken down. So we're about ready to plant. Here's all the materials I need. I need some leaves, my compost tea water, compost, newspaper, and little starts. So you notice how much recycling is going on here. We're reusing this newspaper, we're using the leaves that were going to go to landfill. Our old food waste was there going to landfill. The water, which would have been wastewater that the city doesn't want to deal with. So we're keeping as much material in the garden as we can. Okay, so what I want to do is dig past whatever mulch layer I have. The ground does not want to be uncovered. The ground always wants to be covered. So it's either going to be covered with something that's giving nutrition to the plants or something that's taking. So we don't want a lot of weeds. We want a nice layer of mulch, which in this case is wood chips and leaves from last year. They've been sitting for a year, so they've already started breaking down. So okay, we're gonna push this away. And there's already pretty good soil in there, some compost from and broken down material from last year. The ink on the newspapers is now all soy-based, so it is okay to put in the ground. It's not toxic ink. All right, so that's nice and wet, sitting there, and I need 2 hands here. We're just going to cut a hole in it. This newspaper is going to be my weed barrier, and a little soil in the hole, put a compost from the bin. Get one of my squash, set him in, give him enough to support. Hard to do with one hand. All right, so now we've got our wet squash in, and I'm gonna just bring these back over. I mean, I'll plant one down the way a little bit, but so this is now a weed barrier. It becomes compost and becomes a part of the soil, breaking down that clay. Worms love it, so it'll increase the worm population here, and everything will be good. These things should just be exploding because we've got them in worm compost, protected from weeds, and feeding them with compost tea. And then meanwhile, we have a guardian. Keep those moles out, yeah? Maybe when he's not so busy. All right, so hey, thanks for coming with me. Gardening from start to finish, from soil, building up the soil. It's hugely important. Don't overlook that. Feeding them with rainwater and good compost. Try and recycle whenever possible. Use the materials that you already have around. They're already useful. And man, share what you've been doing. That's working good for you. It's still a little bit early because I found out it's going to be 33 tonight. So they'll still, you know, they might camp out in here for another few days. And until I know it's safe for all of them to get out there. I put a few out there for the video, but yeah, it's not quite time. Another couple of days. And it's pretty cool. We got some cool things going on here. I think these are going to be little apples. Whoop. No focus. Yeah. Little apples. So we have about 20 apple trees going on right now. Yeah, I think they germinated. They will be apples. Nice. All right, so hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Go to my Facebook, which is facebook.com/urban offgrid. and give a like, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and keep living lightly.